Welcome back. We're with Amy Clinton and Shannon Bell. These are both superstars, students at Norman High. They make great grades. They're involved in a lot of activities, and they have so many things going on in their schedule. It's just amazing that they can do it all. And so today they're here to share it with us. So let's start with Shannon. Shannon, how do you manage?
I don't know. Well, I just try to make good use of the time I do have, because I really don't seem to have a lot of extra time. And when I get home, I don't usually turn on the TV. I don't have very much TV time, and I don't know. The time I do have, I just try to study here and there. And my teachers are really good about, if I don't understand something, I've been gone, they're really good about coming in and helping me.
Now, how does that happen? When you're gone, what do you actually do the next day you're back in school?
Usually, they haven't covered that much where I can't understand what they're doing. Or if I've been gone a couple of days and I don't understand, I usually just come in, and it usually just takes half an hour after school to catch back up.
So you meet with the teacher individually?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, do you schedule that time? Do you go up to the teacher and say, gosh, I really need to come in after school today to get some help?
Yes, because if there's one thing that kills you, it's zeros. And so I just make sure that I say, okay, what exactly have I missed, and what exactly do I need to make up? And they'll just give me everything that I need to make up, and I'll try to do it on my own. And the parts that maybe I won't understand, I'll just go in and they'll help me with it. And yeah, I'll just say, okay, can I come after school today? And they'll say yes, usually.
Okay, Amy, how do you keep it all together?
It's basically the same thing with me. I'm gone a lot. But if I get home after school and I have lots of homework, then I'll try to get it all done before I do go out, or I do go on my activity for the night. And then when I'm gone, I go back to the teacher and I talk to them and get all my makeup work and everything, and try to get it done as soon as possible, because it builds up really fast.
Do you have an idea of about how much time a week you both spend studying separately? About how much time a week you would say that you study?
Well, I don't want this to sound really bad, but probably not as much as I'd like to. Some nights I don't even get home till 10:30. I mean, sometimes last year, I would have track practice till 6, and then basketball game at 6:15 and that'd be over like at 9:30 or 10. And so those nights you don't really study that much, because if you don't sleep, then you miss school for being sick and stuff. So,
Right.
So on nights that I have time, I'll say like an hour or two. It just depends on what's due. Like if there's a paper due, stay up all night doing that paper, and that's a lot of time. And in some weeks, hardly any.
Do you make use of weekend time to study sometimes?
Well, if I really need to. I mean, if there's a big project or a book I have to have read, then yes. But if there's just little things, then I have a fun weekend.
What that tells me is that you're making use of the 55 minutes you have in class. And now I found that when I was in college too, that I could go into a classroom and just give it my total concentration for 55 minutes. And then I actually didn't need to study all that much outside of class, but I also was not distracted by a lot of other things. I did give my attention to the class. Amy, what about you? About how much time a week do you spend?
It depends on what kind of homework I have.
Sure.
If there's something that I have that's going to take a lot of time, I spend a lot of time on it, and I get a reasonable amount of sleep usually. And then sometimes I don't have any homework, because I try to get it done during class, because nobody likes homework. But so, sometimes an hour or two a night. I guess it's about average.
One of the other things that these two girls have been established as good students throughout school. So they have already developed a body of skills through the years that are, I guess, would come automatic to you, that you don't have to really think about, okay, I have to write this assignment down, so I will be sure and get it turned in. But that is important to do, things like that.
It doesn't sound like y'all ever just skip school. You're either in class or you're at an activity.
Right.
So if you're not gone for good reason, you're sitting there in the class. You always make it up. Shannon, I know you use your computer for essays, I think. Why do you put that on a computer?
Well, a lot of times they'll ask, a lot of colleges for applications or for essays, they'll ask the same types of questions. So that saves me a lot of time since I'm so busy. I'll just go in and punch up the essay and maybe rephrase some things to fit the exact question. Or sometimes you'll just have to run off the whole essay again. So it saves,
It's
you
a
know,
time
hours.
saver then.
Yes,
Okay.
a lot.
All right, good.
Well, Amy, what kinds of special techniques do you have? Do you have any tricks for keeping your papers organized or?
Well, I do organize my papers. It bothers me when I'm not organized. And so, you know, I have a different notebook for each class, and I organize, like, I put my tests together, and then I put my homework together for that chapter or whatever. Like in math, I'll put all my homework for that chapter together, and then I'll put the test right after it. And so that helps me go back and study for it, you know, for the semester test or whatever. That helps a lot.
So you have everything for a specific class in one place, one
Yes,
notebook?
right. And I don't have it
Okay.
stuffed in books or anything because I can never find it. So,
Shannon, do you have a similar strategy, or is yours a little different for you? How does yours work?
Yes, I usually put, especially with, it usually depends on the class, how organized you need to be, but for my classes this year, yes, definitely. I put everything where I can find it in a notebook, and putting them in books and things is probably very smart because they'll say, okay, remember this handout from the first week of school? And so it's really good to organize your papers.
Do you each have lockers? Do you share a locker with someone, or do you have an individual one?
I have my own.
I share with 2 other people,
Yeah.
but I don't use them. I mean, it's not that, I mean, it's a science locker. They're pretty big. So.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what
I was wondering if you even went so far as to organize your locker and have things in certain spots. You probably do.
Yeah.
Because you said you have to be organized.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. I put, you know, first hour is all together, and then my second hour and third hour, it just goes in order, and that way I can find it really easily.
Do you have dirty clothes laying on your floor right now at home?
Well, I cleaned my room last night, no.
I knew it.
No,
I
actually,
want this
usually
one.
I do.
I want to adopt her.
No, that doesn't happen very often, though.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Shannon, you were talking about that you had your essay on computer. Say you have a term paper or a term project for a class assigned, and it's due in January or right after Christmas. What would you be doing now for that?
Truthfully, probably nothing.
Just lie to us.
No, let's get
I'll
on
lie
to
to
it.
you. Well, what I should be doing, actually, well, it depends on how much research you would need to be doing and everything, but try to be taking some notes and going, you know, doing some research early, because that really, I mean, sometimes, every once in a while, I will not procrastinate and I will start things early. And some teachers even have a system where you can get extra credit for turning things in early or doing certain parts of things early, which I think is really good because that inspires people. But yeah, I'd be starting just to go to the library or just to get some resources so you don't have to be doing everything at the last minute, doing some reading and stuff. But I mean, there's different study things for every single person is different. So, you know, some people don't need to study as much as others because they have different remembering techniques, and so it's just, I mean, what comes easy to me may come real hard to somebody else, and what comes hard to me may come really easy.
Fit it to whatever works for you. Try
Right.
different things. Do you all, this morning when you came to school, actually when you woke up this morning, did you have your day pretty much planned about what was going to be happening that day and what you needed to be doing?
My days are planned like a month in advance.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know what I'm going to be doing usually probably the week before.
Yeah, you have to be, because when you've got so much to do that you have to plan it real accurately so you don't
Okay.
forget everything.
How do you keep track of that? Do you remember everything that you need to do the next week?
Yeah, you really have to be conscious of what, I mean, you have to think about every day, you know, what am I going to be doing tomorrow? Because, I mean, a lot of my things, sometimes I'll have to be 2 places at once, and I'll be going, oh my gosh, I forgot, you know, and so I usually try to either, you know, if it's on a normal schedule, I don't need to write it down, but I write it on my hand sometimes, you know, to remember where I'm supposed to be when.
Do you find that you write things down very often?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a calendar of my wall at home, and I write everything down, and I try to look at it every morning.
Okay.
But
Sounds
So
good.
it's a matter of organization and scheduling your time.
Right.
And that's,
And they do it.
and that's those are the two keys to being successful students. I want to thank you both for being with us today, and next week we'll be here with Mrs. Annette Pretty, who is a business teacher at Norman High School, and she will be talking to us about organizing ourselves for study. See you then.